Today we have an international SEO expert with us, Alex Galinos, head of SEO at Hopper and co-founder and marketing manager of Parents Hub. We have a whole list of achievements and accomplishments that Alex has done throughout his career, but we feel like it's best if Alex can talk about his life and story, and then we just keep inserting these accomplishments throughout. So before any ado, welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's an honor to be invited to a show where such big names of the industry is spoken on, and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you. We kind of already know that you had some background in SEO, but we don't really know where it started and how it started. So I think the first company where the essence of SEO started for you was around in digital winners, I believe.
So my background before SEO revolved around content by a great deal. So I used to work for about 3 years at a publishing house that used to create English language speaking books. That was back in 2014 until the end of 2016. Great experience overall. It gave me an immense level of attention to detail, which I believe I've kept up until today. Then beginning of 2017, I got into the whole digital marketing game, again, from the content side of things. So I used to work for about a year as a copywriter, and I went through 2 different companies as a copywriter. One was in the e-learning niche, and then the other one was in HR.
Yeah, e-learning was another point of topic that I've added, I think, to the list, and we'll touch on that when we get there itself.
Great.
In your years there itself, did you always feel that while doing content, SEO had to go hand in hand with it, or was it always like an interest that you just saw and you wanted to go for?
Yeah. I actually remember, reading all those publisher sites about SEO, like Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, and so on. And I remember, although at the time I didn't understand what SEO was all about, I was somehow fascinated by it. And I remember that it somehow had something to do with coding and stuff, which to an extent it does have to do, meaning that,
there are some technical sides to it.
Yeah, exactly. You have to know, how the code can influence crawling, indexing, and so on. So yeah, I got into SEO from the gambling industry, and specifically from the affiliate side of things.
Yeah, and in that itself, you had one. You were shortlisted in the top 8 best newcoming affiliate websites. But how does exactly the iGaming industry work? So, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I think Betano and Stickyman, I believe I'm not. Yeah, so I think those 2 were the first, were the part of the your Kaizen gaming career life. And in the iGaming industry, I don't think it works the same as other industries itself. So how did you find this industry and specialize in it? And then how did you build your career in that?
Yeah, the iGaming industry is very, very fascinating and challenging, I would say. Even the actual market size of the gambling industry is huge. I mean,
massive.
In 2021, it was something like 61 billion US dollars, I think. And then I think I read some other research that was saying basically that up until 2028, the industry is expected to grow to something like 130 billion US dollars.
A very lucrative market.
Yeah, it's pretty massive, and it's growing exponentially. Even during COVID, even more so during COVID, actually, because, people were staying indoors. They had a lot more time and money to burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to challenges, the iGaming industry is kind of a mixed case, meaning that depending on the market, Some markets are regulated, while some others are kind of a gray area, something in between regulated and not regulated. And then there are also many differences from one market to the other when it comes to the actual regulations that gambling SEOs have to consider, which of course is something that also influences everybody that does SEO in gambling, as to, for example, what keywords or topics they can target based on the gambling products that are allowed in a specific region, or even in the actual wording that gambling SEOs can use on the SEO landing pages. Like, for example, what words they can or cannot use on the metadata, for example, based on the regulations of the region. An example, a very good example of this is the market of Germany, where this was actually a case that I faced in Betano, where after November 2021, I think it was, if you wanted to be a licensed online operator offering your games to the German market, then you couldn't use the term casino anywhere on your website. Okay. As this was a term that was reserved specifically for land-based operators. So actual, physical casino establishments, brick and mortar casinos, as we call them. So you can imagine basically what this means, because it involved cleaning up the whole German website from all references of the casino term, and then also going into all those redirects of the URLs that had the term casino in them, and so on. So overall, not a great scenario to be a part of. Yeah, I guess, the bottom line is that a gambling SEO, apart from playing by the rules of Google, also has to play by the rules of the different markets that they're doing business in. So it's kind of a twofold. Yeah, exactly.
I was actually going to ask, besides the landing page that is attractive with good CTAs that can actually get people to click through, and a good, proper, professional looking website along with a seamlessly working app, those would be the best ways to actually get like a good gambling website running and going. But then are there any other back-end things that would actually help sustain it for a long term?
Well, surprisingly, gambling operators and gambling websites overall are very, very behind when it comes to, some best practices that usually are implemented in other industries. They're neglected in the gambling industry. Sadly, like you yourself said, basically a lot of the work that goes on for SEOs in the gambling industry, and specifically for gambling operators, has to do with sorting out all the tech stuff. Right. As there's a lot of, for example, external scripts that load on the websites. And oftentimes the code of the pages is not ideal in how it is structured and loaded, etc. Because basically a lot of the pages of betting and casino websites carry third-party code from all the providers of the games or the bets, which, this creates a massive load on the pages, as these games are usually JavaScript based, and of course will bring your page speed all the way down. And then of course there's also the case of the affiliate websites, because basically these two are completely different things. So when we're looking at affiliates, it's mostly about quality content and knowing your product as much as possible, so that you write in-depth reviews and listicle type of articles about it. And then again, of course, some heavy link building that's required on the affiliate side as well, especially for international websites.
So I think the next part of it would be a two-part question, but I'll break it up for one now, and then we'll get to the next part later. But for product reviews and affiliate marketing, since the new update with Google came out for the product review update, should these websites actually be worried about it? Because we all know product reviews are important and Google is the best place for reviews. But then with the new update, does things change now?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, affiliate is a tough nut to crack, basically, oftentimes. I believe that what that specific type of updates usually boils down to is that Google likes to see affiliate content that has some sort of personal touch to it and firsthand experience. It is true that a lot of the affiliate content out there is just basically rewritten content or even spun content from somebody else's review, oftentimes through automated tools and stuff like that. Back in the day when I was in the affiliate industry, what I always tried to do was specifically when I couldn't test out the product or service firsthand, is that at least I would make sure I had researched everything about it to the greatest extent possible, and that I had included in my review every little piece of info a potential user of the product might be interested in. Most affiliate websites are SEO optimized. So the organic channel for affiliates is one of the most go-to solutions to attract traffic. So reviews are often written on the basis of what people are searching for in search engines with regards to that specific product. So, queries about reviews on different aspects of the product, like how to use it,
Right.
what payments you can use to buy it, and so on. But in my eyes, it's always worth it to go the extra mile and also include information in your affiliate content that is outside of the scope of what users are searching for in search engines.
But still relevant to your least,
Exactly.
right? Because
Exactly.
when I bring up relevancy is in relation to when you had brought up link building with affiliate marketing. How do people gain backlinks to, let's say, to online casinos or websites that promote these stuff when they're not too sure if these sites are worth linking to in the first place, considering that they might have low speed and, well, just might not be relevant to their content in the first place? It's a long question, I know, but basically, what is a good backlink strategy for affiliate marketers and maybe those who are also in this online casino field?
Well, I believe that basically all backlink strategies should start out with the business goals and the pages the business wants to drive more conversions to. In my eyes, link building is not something that's abstract that has to do only with SEO, but it should always be tied into the priorities of the business. So in an ideal scenario, the pages you're going to be building links to, whether that's for an affiliate website or for a gambling operator, will be targeting keywords with good search volume, most probably mid to high difficulty, especially if they're commercial keywords. So naturally, in most industries, not just the gambling industry, these keywords require some sort of link building effort to move the needle. Now, there are many different strategies and approaches, as basically link building is a sub niche of SEO on its own, and you're looking at many different things like how to build your anchor text strategy and what publisher selection criteria you're going to use, how you're going to structure your off-page content so that it's, you know, as natural as possible, which pages you're going to be building links to. And this is also very dependent on the industry. For example, in gambling operators, most of the links are built towards commercial pages.
Right.
And the reason why that is because informational content is somewhat neglected in that industry, except if you're an affiliate, of course. So most gambling operators only have commercial pages, and that's where they build their links to. Whereas on the other hand, in the airport transfers industry and the overall travel industry that I'm in right now, websites are much more active when it comes to their blog articles on their website. And as a result, those articles could also very well be potential targets for link building, even for natural links, to be honest.
Right.
Now, some of the things I personally always consider when I'm setting the link building framework for a new website, or you know, even reviewing an existing website's link building strategy, are basically what I mentioned before about how to select publishers to get a potential link from. So I always try to give priority to relevant publishers, as they are the ones that will give the greatest power to the link I'm going to get. Then I'm also looking at metrics. Although I'm not too anal about metrics, I know that, you know, metrics can be very easily inflated at times. But, you know, I am looking at some basic metrics like DR, for example, but always in combination with good organic traffic. Then some basic EAT signals and some good user experience, because I want to be sure that I'm getting links from websites that have actual people behind them. I try to avoid no-name websites. And I'm also trying to avoid websites that have excessive ads. So I'm always looking for some sort of good user experience.
But does that all change when you do the same kind of, let's say, strategy for other countries that don't speak English, let's say?
You know what? It depends on the market, and it depends also on, you know, like the position of the market, the standards. I mean, I don't know. People in India, for example, might be creating websites that have no ads. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just assuming. So naturally, if I went into that market and started building a strategy, then if, I don't know, the agency that I work with started suggesting websites that were full of ads, I would go like, okay, the market doesn't have any ads at all. So why are you suggesting, you know, websites that have the X amount of ads? So right. I think it usually depends on the market. And then also what I usually do is that I try to somewhat build the strategy, the link building strategy between some priority landing pages versus the low-hanging fruits, as we call them. So in most cases, I try to split the links on a per month or a per quarter basis, based on percentages. So like 70 to 80% of links would be targeted towards some very, very core pages, like, you know, your core commercial pages. And then the remaining 20 to 30% would go to pages, keywords that would present some easier opportunities. because they would rank somewhere between second and third page for the core terms. So, I would estimate that with a couple of links, they would push towards the first page.
Yeah, the reason why I brought it up was you were able to increase the monthly search for a bunch of keywords that weren't exactly in the country that you were in anyway. Because I think most marketers know to get their keyword to rank, but they're not too sure how to get another keyword in another country to rank.
So you mean for international websites, basically for .com websites?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if you're looking at an international website that accepts people from basically any place on earth, if you want to bring people from a specific region, then you can either get links from that specific region, or if you're looking at targeting a specific region, then you can go with a local domain. So like a local TLD, for example, so like .gr for Greece.
Right.
Other than that, the core set of principles is pretty much the same. Like, you have to have your on-page optimized. And then if you have a .com website and you want to target specific regions, the other thing is that you could, for example, have different subfolders under that root domain to target specific countries. So like .us or .in for India, and then potentially add the equivalent hreflangs to better target that specific region. So it mostly depends on whether you're under a .com domain, or you want to go with a local TLD for that specific market.
And like you mentioned, the SEO aspects that we would normally do for everything. Are there other marketing activities that we can do for, again, same iGaming websites and apps that would also take into account with international markets?
Yeah, for gaming operators, my experience has shown that they rely heavily on activities like ads, for example, to get extra exposure to their target audience. Again, this often also depends on the market, the actual market. As in certain markets, ads for products like betting or casino are not allowed. So naturally, the focus shifts to other channels to bring in traffic, which was the case, for example, for the market of Germany, or at least up until a few months ago. I don't know if that's still relevant. So in Germany, you can do ads to target people for I think it was only for casino or casino and betting. I'm not too sure. And then affiliate marketing is also another major channel that prevails in betting and casino, meaning that gambling operators often rely on affiliates to promote their products and attract traffic to the website of the operators. And actually, gambling affiliate marketing has got to be one of the most popular niches when it comes to affiliate marketing. I don't know what that is exactly.
I mean, the industry is about to boom to 100+ billion. I think it'll start getting more and more people involved.
Exactly. Yeah, it's as if this whole industry relies on affiliates to a great extent to bring in potential customers. And then gaming websites also rely to some extent to branding activities like sponsorships, for example. Sponsorships help a great deal in making the brand well known to potential customers. And then Also, another avenue which has more of a corporate focus, I guess, as opposed to customer focus, is activities like corporate social responsibility campaigns and stuff like that, like donating money to a good cause, that type of activities. Because basically the industry has kind of a shady profile to an extent. So I guess it kind of makes sense to, have that type of activities to somewhat balance that.
Balance it. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other, let's say, barriers to starting a website that mainly deals in iGaming?
You mean from an operator
From an
perspective?
operator's perspective.
Well, I would say that the main thing is if you want to go licensed or not, and whether the market that you're thinking of penetrating actually requires a license. There are certain markets, like I mentioned, that you cannot possibly operate without a license. Or if you operate without a license and the local regulator finds you, then basically you're going to face some hefty fines.
Yeah.
There are certain operators that have taken that risk, meaning to operate in a regulated market without having a license. Yeah, I guess it depends on your strategy. I mean, I assume that these operators, up until the point that they got caught by the local regulator, they might have made a good chunk of money. So yeah, I guess they didn't care afterwards. It's
it's in the wind now.
yeah, exactly.
Um, it seemed kind of question, but let's say a more general aspect of it. So what are the ways to start a website now for whatever niche? And what are the barriers that most people have and how to get over those barriers?
Yeah, good question. Well, naturally, if you're a new site, you can possibly get started and from day one target all the difficult and high volume terms. So what I usually do is I go after more long tail terms that are easier to rank for at first, just to get a feel of the industry and how the website will react to basically my strategy. And then once I start establishing some authority, after some time, I will start going after the more high volume and difficulty terms. Also, I find it extremely important to be involved as an SEO to the actual building of the website from day one. I think it saves us so much time and effort to be there from day one, saying what needs to be done in order for the website to be as SEO friendly as possible, as opposed to trying to fix what needs to be fixed afterwards. And also establishing a new website depends big time on the budget that you have. You can fast forward a lot of things if you do have resources for things like building links, for example, or the ability to put out new pages fast, because the actual growth of the website depends on also the velocity, the content velocity, and how quickly you can publish new pages. And then also it takes time to build some topical relevance to the terms that you want to target. So if you're a new site, you do have to be patient. We all know that SEO takes time. It doesn't work like ads. So you can't possibly expect to rank instantly for the terms you're interested in. And the more time passes and the more content you have on the overall topic clusters you're interested in, the better your organic growth will look like.
Consistency also probably will be key.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, for some people, as you mentioned, they might not have the time or the resources to invest in their SEO project. Would you advise then to put in, let's say if they don't have the time, to put in then the money for paid ads, let's say, or would you rather suggest them to take that time extra and then work on it because it would work more in the long run?
Well, it's two different channels, and basically it's like one complements the other. In my eyes, it's not like you can
One
either do this
versus,
or that.
yeah,
Exactly. It depends on the website. It depends on your strategy. It depends, of course, on your budget. I mean, if you go for
yeah,
ads, you're looking at bigger budgets from day one. Whereas SEO, okay, it does require an investment, but if you put it side by side, it might not be as much as ads. Plus, it's basically a whole different mentality, because one is you're going after the long run, whereas the other one is, you're looking at some, let's say, immediate gains.
yeah.
So it's two different approaches.
The reason I asked is we put up a post today itself, just a social media one, asking our followers and viewers what they felt would be the best option to go for. And I think we also mentioned that the simple answer is it depends on your business goals and marketing goals. But to put that forward itself, there are some situations, let's say, where you would require this one over the other one. And technically, you kind of covered all of them. But is there another situation where, let's say, you should do one versus the other one? Of course, time and resources are those two options, but there are other situations, let's say, if you're marketing a certain product, would that, again, it depends on the product and everything like that, but a more specific category of what does it depend on?
Well, I guess it depends on, I mean, if you're looking at specific, I don't know, seasonal occasions like Black Friday or, I don't know, Christmas. And from an SEO point of view, you didn't have the time to create, a specific landing page to, have it on your website, like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months before, to then get it ranking and so on. And you're looking at creating a page and then just putting some ad budget on it to have it to have traffic to that specific page. That would be one occasion where you didn't have the time to do
Yeah.
all the necessary things proactively to get that SEO traffic in. And then, of course, another occasion would be if you're looking at things like, increasing your brand awareness. I guess, from that point of view, it would make sense to also invest in ads.
Ultimately, I think what you mentioned earlier was a mix of both, and a good balance between the two can always do the job, right? But
Sure.
in relation to starting a website, choosing the SEO part of it and your marketing paid side of it, how did you start a Parent Sub, and how did you get it to where it is today?
Yeah. So yeah.
The big question for this episode.
So yeah, Parents Hub is basically a Greek parenting website that me and my wife created in July 2021, just to give the history behind it, the background. We have managed to grow it from 0 to more than 100,000 monthly traffic in less than 12 months of the site being live. The site's traffic comes almost entirely from search engines. So it has like, I think 96 to 97% organic traffic.
Yeah.
So it's most, like pure organic traffic. Um, The site is basically a knowledge hub, a knowledge base with informational content for everything parents want to find information on, from topics like children's health, kids' activities, psychology, topics about infants, babies, content about mothers, information about children-related products, and so on. And then the site also has a directory featuring businesses related to the industry, like kindergartens, playgrounds, nursery schools, and also party venues for children. So basically the concept is that every Greek business of that type that wants to be promoted on the website has a dedicated business page with unique content about the business and its activities, along with other things like contact information and so on. So basically we kind of bring children related businesses in front of the parents that are looking for such businesses, also based on their location and so on. The directory part of the website, we haven't grown it as much so far, as the website was basically created during COVID. Yeah. So land-based businesses of that industry were kind of struck hard by the pandemic at the time. So they did not have the budget to spend on promotional activities. However, we do intend to grow that part of the website in the coming years, as we see a lot of potential there.
Yeah, you had mentioned that it's technically 2 parts to the website. And when I gone to the website to do my research, I also had seen how it's one site, but 2 purposes. And one is for, like you mentioned, parents to have that information hub, to know more about their kids, the education part of it and psychology. And one was offering kid spaces like kindergartens, party venues, etc.
Exactly.
Consider this question maybe a very novice question, but is there any advanced, or is there any technique used to actually have 2 somewhat related industries together on the same website, offering a singular purpose, basically? If I can try to rephrase that question, I shall try 1 second. But being the all-you-can-be place for parents, was there any difference in how you start your SEO and marketing for that website, along with the technical side of it?
Well, the way we approach this is that most other competitors, what they did is they started trying to get businesses to be promoted on their website, basically from the beginning of the website. In my eyes, this didn't make sense. So the way we approached this was that we first built the content, the informational content, to attract the traffic, so that we could then approach the businesses that would potentially want to be promoted on the website. Right. In order to actually provide value, there's no reason, in my eyes, to approach a business and basically scam them that they're going to be promoted on a website that doesn't have traffic. So let's just say that I picked the more honest approach, meaning that I wanted to have to get traffic to the website, and then being confident enough that the website is high traffic, I would then approach the businesses and say, like, hey, we have this much traffic on a per month basis, so you're going to get actual value. You're gonna be promoted in front of parents that are relevant to your business. They are also relevant to the actual location of your business, because basically the pages, the businesses are promoted on SEO landing pages that are targeted to a specific area of Athens and potentially of Greece, because we plan to expand the whole directory for the whole of Greece. So basically, what I did is we created the right mechanism. Actually, I'm saying I because my wife is mostly on the content and social media side of things. So the whole SEO strategy and the marketing strategy was basically lying on my shoulders. So basically, I approached this by creating the right mechanism when it comes to SEO. So a solid tech foundation, a website that loads fast. And then after the traffic came in, we started approaching some relevant businesses to get them to be promoted on the website. Another side to this is that, which kind of comes in contradiction to what I said previously about ads, is that the website is heavy on ads, because naturally we have to have some sort of income, at least for the first few years. But even so, we managed to not burden page speed so much, even though the ads are there.
You had mentioned that it started off as you and your wife. So how have things grown since then, and how have you been able to scale?
We've scaled a lot when it comes to the traffic side of things. I mean, you can imagine that getting a website from 0 to more than 100,000 monthly traffic in less than 12 months is not
all 96% of it being more than organic traffic. Yeah.
So it's purely organic. So when it comes to the traffic side of things, scaling was unexpected, I would say. I wouldn't imagine it, to be honest. The challenging aspect of this project is the monetization side of it, which basically we're exploring several different aspects. One is ads. So things like Google AdSense and also some other ad networks that we're exploring. Then we've also started testing some affiliate articles. And then, of course, there is also the directory part of the website, which is basically a whole different channel, more of a B2B side of things. So again, you're looking to basically bring in more people to the team, because this requires people that are going to approach the businesses and things like that, which for the time being, just because it's just me and my wife, is somewhat challenging to do.
I was going to ask also, like, this is more personal than professional, but how is it to work with your wife?
It's well, I guess it depends on every individual case, but in our case, it's perfect, because it's like she knows what I expect to see when I hand something over, and I know the exact same thing, like when she hands something over, what she expects to see, just because, of course, there's communication between us. So in our case, it's worked like 99% perfectly.
It's very lucky, because I think a lot of people without working together can't make it work still.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. You've been in the industry for a while, and I'm not too sure how long your wife has been supporting you throughout the industry. but you've seen how things have changed and grown and become a different field almost altogether. So what have been at least some of the major changes that you've seen, and how have you been able to embrace them at every stage?
Yeah. I think one of the most challenging things right now in the SEO industry is the fact that Google tries to keep users as much on the search results as possible, basically by giving them all the info they need right on the search results. Of course, this has been happening for quite some time now, but it seems that Google is releasing more and more features to achieve that, uh, which of course naturally takes that traffic away from the websites, from the actual websites oftentimes. Um, so I think one of the most challenging things for SEOs nowadays is to find the right type of keywords that will ideally not have a million different features on the SERPs that will, distract users from the organic results. So things like ads, featured snippets, image packs, local packs, and stuff like that. And yeah, I find that for certain industries and specific keyword clusters, that gets increasingly harder nowadays. Um, and then, of course, the classic thing is that Google always likes to kind of reshuffle the game from time to time. September has been a month, actually, end of August till end of September has been a month with 3 different updates. So it's it's working in SEO gets more and more challenging as time goes by. So yeah, I guess if you're in SEO, you have to be able to deal with significant amount of stress.
I was
It's
going to
the
ask you, what was the one constant that has remained? And I think that's what it is, dealing with a
yeah.
significant amount of stress.
Yeah.
This would be more of, again, personal stuff rather than the professional stuff you've been talking about, but it does at least delve in that field of stuff. What exactly are 3 books that you would recommend people to at least get more into the business, marketing, and entrepreneurship side of things? Or if you
Yes.
have any recommendations.
Surprisingly, because I know that it's kind of a trend nowadays that people read SEO and entrepreneurial books. I don't have any suggestions. I haven't read any. I usually, most of the resources I resort to are online. So apologies, but I have no suggestions
No worries, no
for.
worries. We could change it to that. So what online websites would you then suggest to get more information on this?
So specifically for blogs, it's kind of the usual stuff, really. I mostly read Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land. Then, your usual bloggers like Brian Dean. I'm also following a guy that's trending big time on LinkedIn for the last couple of years. He's called Kevin Indig, or I don't know how that is pronounced. And then there's also Daniel Fowley,
Okay.
which I'm also following on LinkedIn.
I was going to ask
He
also, yeah. So which social media profiles also would you suggest?
who else? Yeah, I think that's pretty
Would
much.
there anyone?
I'm
Sorry.
following a lot of people on LinkedIn and mostly on LinkedIn, but a lot of the names I forget right now.
No worries. I mean, if you can give us a list, we'll add it to the transcript itself. But another question would be, are there, I mean, I think this also might be a bit off, but are there any podcasts that you listen to besides SEO on air for these advice and tips?
Am
It's okay.
I?
You can just say the best one and keep it as ours, and that's fine.
I'm just following SEO on air, nothing else.
All
Nothing
right,
else.
all right. Now we've got our marketing plug.
I'm not a big fan of podcasts, to be honest. I'm not usually I'm always either looking at stuff on YouTube or something that the XYZ posted on LinkedIn. So I'm usually finding things like that.
Are
But
there
yeah,
YouTube channels then? Because now that you mention it, we also have a YouTube channel.
again, I think it's pretty much the same. It's Brian Dean. It's Rand Fishkin, which I know that you also had on the show. Bruce Clay. Who else? I'm also following a lot of guys that are mostly on the content side of SEO. So one guy's named Nick Jordan.
Okay.
They are all about this content velocity side of SEO. So, trying to put out new pages fast, get growth, get organic growth as fast as possible. Who else? I have a
Well,
lot of names.
would you say you also put out enough content on LinkedIn to maybe be considered? Because then we'll of course add you as well to be like, hey, you need to follow Alex as well for more info and updates.
Yeah, I do put a lot of content on LinkedIn. I try to be as helpful as possible. I kind of invest in personal branding as much as I can. I know that it's kind of challenging to differentiate yourself from the noise on LinkedIn, but yeah, I try to be as unique as possible.
Right. And I think we are almost at an hour itself, but I do want to ask one last question if you don't mind.
Sure.
And as always, it is also kind of like a personal kind of question. So if you do mind, I'll refrain from asking the question. But for someone who's been in the field for a while, has taken on numerous challenges while also dealing with family and other issues like the pandemic, are there moments where you do feel like mental health needs to take a break? And how do you get to that level of calm if you are going through stress?
Yeah, good question. I think it has to do with having proper time management, meaning that it's very, very easy to get swept into this whole work thing, meaning that if
The
you
hustle
have
culture.
yeah, exactly. If you have a full-time job and then you also have things like side gigs and then whatever other thing you might have going on, like, I don't know, the XYZ person might have their own course or whatever. It's very easy to, start working more and more, even outside of office hours, take time from your family. My way of approaching this and my advice is to have some sort of specific schedule, strict schedule that, okay, I do have my full-time job and then I also have a side gig, but the side gig is going to be only in the weekends, every Saturday, 2 hours in the morning, or every Sunday afternoon, whatever works for each
A very
person.
good organized approach.
Yeah. Because of course, it's I learned this the hard way too, because
I was gonna ask,
yeah, there were times where I would invest more time in work, whereas as opposed to my family or my friends, or just going to the mountain and just breathing fresh air.
Was it hopefully not a long time, right? Did they
No.
till you figured out? All right, cool.
No.
Because again, some people do feel like they are stuck in that cycle of this is my life now and I have to keep doing this. And they feel like they do have to carry on with that because they are seeing bits of success. but
Yeah.
it is, as we all kind of know, it's not sustainable, and we do need to hear from more people that, listen, you should take a break and you deserve a break every now and then.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex, for being on the show. We hope we can probably maybe get you again if you're free.
For sure.
All right, cool. Thank you so much again, and hopefully more listeners can tune in to see our talk and our conversation.
Thanks for having me, guys. Best of luck with the show.